Good evening, and I am very welcome to finally welcome back Annie Barr to the studio. Annie, it's lovely to have you back. I know you've been super, super busy. So have I. So it's wonderful that we're connecting again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good, and I'm really pleased to be talking to you again because I really enjoy our chats, and I just feel like we haven't chatted for ages, so can't wait to get this chat on the go and discuss the menopause.
The menopause, the dreaded menopause. It's
Yeah,
eh, it's really alarming to see what women go through, actually, isn't it?
it is. It is, and it's so misunderstood.
Yeah. And like it's such a huge part of women's lives, as in, it could last a decade.
Yeah, it could. It can last anywhere. I mean, the average age, 52, 53 for the menopause, but some women have it early, some women have it in their 40s, and some women,
Yes,
some women have it in their late 40s or early 40s, but, it can happen any time really between that, that age of, 40, on to say 53, 54. For some people. And that's a good 14 years,
yes,
like you say, it can go on for a decade
yes,
for some people, and some people are on HRT well into their 60s.
really.
Mm, yeah,
Wow, that's a long
amazing.
time.
Too
And
long.
and I'm seeing online, Annie, that there's a lot of people talking about perimenopause as well.
There is, yes, that's right. And so, obviously that's the stage before you go into full blown menopause, and some of the symptoms are unbearable for
Mm,
women, and and the thing is that it's so varied because, like we've said before, the symptoms can be multiple symptoms, and they can be symptoms of other things as well. So, for example, I just saw somebody today, and she's a nurse, quite a senior nurse, and she said, I said, well, she was talking to me. She's just actually been diagnosed with a P12 deficiency, and she said, I can't believe
right,
that I've got it. And she said, and I said, well, what were your symptoms? And she said, oh, she says, I thought I was menopausal, and it was all the
right,
menopause symptoms. So she is menopausal, but she's also got this deficiency. So it's hard for some women to put two and two together,
right.
and try and, oh gosh, it's not that, it could be this, and we, women put up with a lot of it, and they really don't have to, but they think it's just part of a normal menopause, and sometimes it's, well, it isn't. B12 deficiency is very different, but people put up with it because they think, oh, that's what it's going to be like, and so it's about, for me, it's
Yeah,
really about education. Educate,
yes,
give people awareness that yes, you might have symptoms of the menopause, but it could be something else, or you could have other symptoms and it's
right.
the menopause, vice versa.
Yeah. And so obviously it's by testing that you discovered that it's a B12 deficiency as opposed to menopause.
Yes, 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 but also, you can get your bloods taken for hormones for your, if it is menopause, you would kind of, you would exclude things. You would take a number of, you
Right,
know, parameters, and you would go on a process of exclusion or inclusion, depending on, obviously, what the problems are. So it's remiss of people just to have HRT test done, sorry, menopause test done, and nothing else, because yes, it might prove that you're in the menopause or perimenopause, but it could be there's something else going on at the same time, and it's a process of
okay.
elimination.
Hmm. Okay. And so that's something I think that we should revisit again, Annie. You and I might have a conversation offline, to develop maybe some assets around that, that would help people,
Mm-hmm.
as in a list. Obviously, you have clinics in the UK, but and obviously you can't. deal individually with everybody, but you know, in terms of maybe providing lists of the recommended tests, you know, would be a good starting point.
Yes, yes.
What do you think?
I think that would be a great idea, because a lot of women, you know, they don't, depending on where you are in the country, you know, you're very unlikely to get menopausal tests done. And they would just, you know, the diagnosis used to be, we would do that, you know, years ago in a community and general practice, we would actually do the test. But now, you know, it's really more about symptoms and, you know, the fact that, you know, if when you've last had your menstrual period, and you know what that's been like over the year or so, and so the
Yeah.
definition of menopause has changed, in terms of the diagnostic of it anyway. And some people, you know, have
Mhm.
you know, reached have gone through the menopause, and some people are perimenopause, and you know, so the symptoms are quite obviously debilitating for a lot of women. So yes, I think the testing is crucial, to be honest, alongside the symptoms,
Yeah.
alongside what's going on,
Okay.
because we can't always put it all
Yeah.
down to one
Yeah.
thing.
Right. Yeah. And of course, I forgot to mention, but I will mention it now, that this talk is purely for educational purposes, and we are not giving medical advice. And if people need medical advice, we recommend you go to your healthcare practitioner. Um, and then one of the other things that's I think important to discuss really is the lack of recognition of the menopause in the workplace.
Sure. Yeah, it's a big issue. And I spoke at an event last December, called, well, it's a Dove Foundation. It's a women's organisation, it's global. And they asked me to speak on the menopause. And, you know, I was doing quite a lot of research at the time for this subject, and found that quite a lot of, you know, 41% of women felt that their symptoms were just ignored, and you know, they weren't taken seriously, and particularly
Yeah,
around age and age bias. So when women, say for example, you know, a woman starts to have a few symptoms in her early 40s, some people, you know, would look at that and say, well, it can't possibly be the menopause. You don't start the menopause till you're over 50, you know. And there's quite a
yeah,
significant amount of people who, you know, would disagree with that. And also, um, we've got to understand that it's very closely related to, you know, when your mum went through the menopause, you know, if you've got, you know, you know, a relationship with your mum, or and a grandmother, you know, go down the line and look at it and say, when did they go through the menopause? Or some people, of course, depending on their, obviously, their circumstances, might not know that, but a lot of people can know that, and they can, maybe it opens up a conversation. Maybe it opens up a conversation about, you know, symptoms and stuff with the mother, or the relationship with the mother gets a bit
right.
closer. I've seen that happen. But yes, it's not, it's really not easy to, you know, to talk about these type of things, with our own nearest and dearest, never mind, um, you know, strangers, or you know, doctors or consultants or anybody else, or even our
Or the boss,
workplace,
or the
and
boss.
the boss in the workplace, correct. And
Yeah,
and you know, we know that, in, you know, some circumstances, quite a lot of women get a bit um, foggy, you know, a foggy brain, or they find it difficult to
yes,
concentrate, and they're
yeah,
having these sort of flashes and flashes, hot flashes all the time, and sweats, and you know, it's very, very
yeah,
debilitating for some people. Now, even though, you know,
yeah.
you could be sitting there and nobody would notice that you were having, you know,
Hmm.
a hot flush, but you know you're having a hot flush, and you're in the middle of a
Yes,
speech or something. It's just dreadful. So I think we have to maybe, you know, make allowances in the workplace for things like that, and understand, that it's a stage that women go through, and it doesn't mean they've lost their brain or they've lost their ability to focus and stuff. It
Yes,
just means they're going through this time and should be able to be understood better in the workplace. Um,
absolutely.
there was a survey, and I must find it. It was done, and basically what they were saying was in the survey that there was a significant amount of women left work rather than talk about the menopause. They gave up work and they retired
Wow.
early rather than talk about the menopause symptoms that they were having with their employers. And that has to change. That has to
Well,
change.
yeah, because obviously it's a huge loss of talent as well out of the workplace.
Massive, massive
Yeah,
loss of talent.
that's crazy.
Senior positions. I mean, by the time you've
Hmm.
reached the menopause, you're generally in a fairly senior position. If you're in the corporate world or wherever
Yeah,
you are, and
yeah,
you just the women feel they can't talk about it, they can't discuss it. There's
yeah,
nowhere for them to go, and
yeah.
that it needs to be. It's not that we want to talk about women's menopause all the time in a workplace, but there should be some understanding of it and education of the people within the
Hmm.
organisation, men and women, who should understand this, and should be some education around it. So if it's
Absolutely.
it's
And,
madness.
and I would say all, yeah, I would say also though, Annie, that like the organization should look at putting some resources in place, whether
Yes,
that is, bringing in professional people like yourself, to give talks, and then, signpost workers to paths that can help relieve their symptoms. Because
yes,
after all, the menopause is a stage of life. It's not an illness. But
that's
yet,
right.
the symptoms can be as debilitating and as challenging as an illness.
Yes, it can. It can
Yeah,
actually be. It's debilitating for some women. You know, it's massively debilitating. And I think you're right.
yeah,
I have a friend of mine who has set up a business in the northeast, and she's called the Menopause Mentor, and her name is Suzanne Barber,
very good.
and she's great, and
Yeah,
she's got a Facebook page. So anybody who's really interested, join Suzanne's group. She's got a Facebook page, and she talks about how she went into the menopause at an early age because she had to have a hysterectomy because of cancer, and she's quite open about that.
okay.
And so surgical menopause is
Yes,
another situation where women. I remember I had a
yeah,
surgical menopause, and I remember feeling I wasn't supported in any way. Nobody asked me anything. Nobody,
yeah,
I took 3 months to think I should probably try some HRT here because I'm losing the will to live. I'm a
yeah,
very focused individual. I'm very sharp and quick, and I became very, to me, um, very slow and not able to concentrate too well and stuff. And that is not me, but that's what I became.
yeah,
And I believed at the
yes.
time in HRT because I tried all the natural methods that were around that I knew of, but there was nobody really
Hmm.
talking about um, natural methods at that time. I mean, I'm talking 20 years ago. So people
Yeah,
really weren't talking about it then. And it was still a taboo subject. And so the only option
yes.
really was HRT at the
Hmm.
time. And like I did try some alternative stuff, but it never
Yeah,
worked. So the HRT did the trick for a few months. And then um, you get to a point where you don't want to take it anymore, or you have your own decisions. But it did help for a while, so I'm not against HRT actually. I
yes.
think some people need help at that time, and it can really help. It can get you back to focus while you then have enough energy and enough concentration to be able to look at some options that you would really like to do, and do them. But at the time,
Yeah.
for me, that
Yeah.
was what I did. I had to do that because there was nothing that I didn't know any experts in this. I knew consultants in the field because I worked with them, but I didn't have anybody in functional medicine or a naturopath, at
Yeah.
that time,
Yeah.
that I could have talked to or anything. But of course now we're much better, it's much more educated and stuff, and
Yeah.
and I would I
Well,
would
I
you know
think, yeah,
no, go on.
I don't know that we're a whole lot better. I think there are more solutions available, but I think that
Yes,
um, there's also a lot of solutions that don't work. We know that the market for supplementation generally is absolutely enormous, but we also know that the quality control is not there in a lot of supplements. And I think that a lot of women, still find it difficult to find a natural solution,
I think they
that
do.
works for them.
Yeah, I think they do. We do our own version of wild yam. You can see that there. So it's wild yam cream,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
there's no additives in here, and no preservative.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pure wild yam, and things like shea butter and chaseberry and whatnot. So it's quite a lot of ingredients in here, and they're all natural. And this stuff, we came up with it. I mean, you can't smell through the camera, but it smells beautiful, and you could eat this. That's
Yeah.
how good it is. It's not, you
Yeah.
wouldn't eat it, you know, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't poison you, is what I'm trying to say. It would not poison you.
I
And
understand.
so,
Yeah.
and so, the wild yam itself, um, is an amazing substance, and we found that this really does help to control the symptoms. Now, it can take a few weeks. There's no doubt about it. And I would suggest that it probably takes
Yeah.
longer than a HRT. HRT can take 2 or 3 weeks, maybe. I think this probably takes a little bit longer. But
Okay. To kick in.
there's, yeah, you just put it. It's a little amount. You just put half a nail on your finger, and
Hmm.
you apply it. And you apply it in thigh area or your tummy or your breast. So, and you
Yes.
do it twice a day, and you could use a little
And
bit
and
on a
so
pulse
and would
point.
they apply that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can put it on. For
Okay.
example, you can put it on your
Very
pulse
good.
point. So like this,
Hmm.
you know. Oh,
Hmm.
so like
Just raise
this,
your hand. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Hmm.
and it stops the sweats, the flushes. Sorry,
Okay. Very
stops
good.
the flushes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so you can apply it through the day, or
Hmm.
you could put a little bit. We suggest that this is kept in the fridge, because it's not got any preservative in it. So
Right.
if this was in a warm room or something, it would just melt back to its
Melts.
substances.
Yeah.
Yes, it would melt. So
Yeah.
so it's best kept in the fridge, and that's why we that's what we suggest. But anyway, it's a good cream, and it's easy to wear, and it's not unpleasant at all. And
Yes.
you can get it on my website, but it's made in Ireland. So we have it made
Okay.
in
Oh, very good.
Ireland. Yes, and it's good.
Excellent.
And we're trying to get make another version of it as well for men who have
All
issues.
right.
So we're
So
in
the
the
men's hot.
process of. Yes. Well, the
Do
men's
men have do men have hot flushes? Any
I don't think they have hot flushes, but they definitely have symptoms, of
such
change.
as?
Well, generally, mainly it's kind of lack of energy, or the libido goes down, and for men,
Okay.
the libido is is perhaps something that bothers them maybe a little bit more than some women. It just depends,
Yes.
obviously. I'm not generalizing, but um,
Yes.
but that can be something, lack of energy, and mood can change,
Okay.
and especially if there maybe the testosterone's a bit low, or that type of thing. So it's as well, I always do a lot of tests on men, not to see if they're in the menopause, but to see if this
Yes.
would help them, um, and often it does. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And typically, what age group would that kind of kick in, Annie?
for
Or is
men.
it like the menopause? It could be any, yeah, for men.
Yeah, I generally, I think it's usually like in the same ages, um, but
Hmm.
maybe perhaps a wee bit later, like late 40s and 50, early 50s, for men.
Later.
Yeah, it can be later.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, and the wild yam is beneficial for men as well.
it is. Yes, it is. It definitely
That's
is. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Excellent.
There's
Good
a
to know
men's
that.
version. There's a men's version,
Yeah.
and we take out one of
Oh, I
the
get you.
Yeah, and you put in what you do
Okay.
is, because sometimes it's associated with other symptoms like prostate issues and prostate,
Mm-hmm.
frequency, going to the loo more frequently at night, that type of thing is a big
Right.
issue. And it's good, it's big for women and men, but in the men's version, we put in
Mm-hmm.
metal. We put metal in it.
You put in
And
what?
metal. Saw palmetto is a
Okay.
herb, and you put that in,
Okay.
and it's very good for the symptoms, frequency symptoms,
Okay.
especially for prostate type issues, for
Very
men,
good.
because there's quite a few. I mean, there's a lot of men having large prostates, um, and
Yes.
the majority of men get a large prostate, in the 70s, 80s, it's quite a
Yeah.
common thing. And so this can cause issues for people who have frequency, and they're not, so that means that it's usually at night, so they might get up 3 or 4 times in the night, for a wee,
Yeah.
and that means you're not getting a good sleep, you're getting interrupted
Correct. It's
sleep,
very
which
disruptive.
affects everything, same for women.
Mm.
um
Yeah.
Women, there's a
Yeah.
lot of women get up through the night more than once or twice in the night, and no matter how much they
Yeah.
drink, or don't drink before,
Mm-hmm.
it tends to happen. So it does control those symptoms as well, so it's quite good.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. I wasn't aware that there was the male version of the wild yam, Annie. And so I think we're going to probably wrap up shortly because I see we're nearly at 23 minutes. So what's your website again, just so people can go there?
It's www.abhealthhub.com. abhealthhub.com.
abhealthhub.com.
Yeah,
Lovely. Okay.
and just go
And
to
we
the
can put the
shop.
link underneath. Yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
yeah,
We'll do that.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's maybe touch base again early next week, Annie, and we'll have a kind of we can decide between now and then what we'll be discussing.
Yes, I might follow up on this and see if anybody's got any
Oh,
questions, or any, they
yes,
want to know any more.
exactly.
Then they can,
Yes,
they can contact you, and we can have another chat, and maybe answer some of the questions that people have about
absolutely.
the menopause, and some of the symptoms,
Yeah,
etc., and where to go,
yeah,
because there's lots of different places you can go to signpost people.
yeah. Perfect. That sounds
Yeah.
like a plan. Okay. So
Okay.
you take care. Great to chat to you.
You too, my dear. Thanks very much for asking me.
Talk soon. Bye.
Cheers.